Got something super fun for you guys in store today. How's everybody doing? It's DiamondTrail Ranch. Today's going to be Loquats. And you guys got some Loquats? Here, I'm going to be sharing the ultimate care guide featuring my own Loquat tree that's been growing right here in our native soil for about 5 months. I don't know how super stoked you guys are for Loquats, but these things are delicious. So if you've ever driven by one in bloom, you know they're beautiful. Here's ours right here. Like I said, it's been in the ground for about 5 months. You can see some new growth all the way down there at the bottom. Give you guys an idea of what we're working with here. Still got the little green tag. That's okay. Gonna keep it nice and zoomed in before while I talk about this care guide here. You know, it's been in the ground, like I said, 5 months. We planted it in the ground, straight into the ground from a pot. Had some easy soil prep, water, fertilization. I actually just recently added in some citrus fertilizer, which is great for all the things I have going on here. Today I'm going to be composting as well on top of everything going on. So when I first planted this one, it really wasn't much to look at, to be honest. A little thing from the garden center with a few, you know, beat up leaves. But now it's really starting to take off. You can see anything lighter generally on citrus and orchard plants in general is going to be your new growth. So they're evergreen, drought tolerant, and they handle Florida's crazy weather like champions. Even right now when it was 55 degrees this morning. So the fruit, Loquats taste like a mix between apricots and mango. Sweet, juicy, super refreshing. They take about 4 to 5 months in the root system. My bad. I want to apologize about that. I'm thinking of over there. The fig. This guy here actually can try to settle its roots for 6 to 12 months. I completely forgot about that. 6 to 12 months. So it can take a whole year for this guy right here to try to focus on the root system before it's going to start working up here. Like I said, though, I've had mine for about 5 months, so it's had a little more time to come along. That's why it's got a little bit of it's had some new growth here. You can see some more coming in as well, the little guys. So, and in there, which is super cool. So we planted ours right in the ground in late spring when the soil was nice and warm. And boy, was it hot this year. Rains were starting. We dug a hole about twice the size as the root ball, and we mixed in some composted horse manure from our pasture. You can see tons of that on our bananas over there. That's underneath my mulching down here. I'm actually going to be working on that again today, adding more compost to everything. So Loquats don't like to sit in waterlogged soil at all, so good drainage is fantastic and key. I'm actually filming this early in the morning. Sun rises in the east, which is that way, so it will be over there. You can see it that way. Got all the sky, so this will be getting straight sunlight for many hours. You want to water it deep when you get this guy in the ground, and then you want to add a thick layer of mulch made of maybe wood chips, I'd say, some dried leaves around your property. That mulch is an absolute game changer. It's a lifesaver for keeping the roots down and cool, and it feeds the soil as it breaks down. Mulch is a nice natural feeder for your plants. So after about 5 months in the ground like mine, here's what I have noticed. The trunk has gotten thickened. The canopy's starting to fill out rather. And it's sending out new growth, like I was telling you in the beginning. I jumped a little ahead of myself in every direction, which is super awesome. When I did first plant this guy, the leaves were lighter green. Now they're dark, glossy, and healthy. I will say I've noticed a ton of new leaf buds pushing from the top, which tells me the roots are, in fact, well established. And at this point, I'm honestly not worried about fruit yet. That's going to be a next year thing. I just want to keep it building its strength. I want that foundation on these, basically everything in the orchard. My little Jamaican cherry, my fig that I brought to life. I got videos on all these, by the way, on my channel. If you guys haven't seen them, there's a story behind everything in the ground on this property. Everything. There's a story on these goats, the dogs, you name it, the duck pen. Check out my other videos as well with that. For the first few weeks, I will say I watered it about every other day. pretty densely, honestly. Just enough to keep the soil moist because of the amount of sunlight I get here. But again, good drainage, guys. You don't want them soaked because once it's settled, we did switch to about twice a week, I would say. Now that it's been here for a while, we only water it, you know, when the top few inches of soil dries out. So it's an easy test there. That's why you also, the mulch rings and things like that, the compost on top help retain that moisture. Fertilizer, like I mentioned earlier as well, is we use a slow release citrus fertilizer, citrus fruit tree fertilizer. About it, you can do it every 6 weeks or 60 days, in somewhere in that time frame. A nice balance of like 8-3-9 works great. If you really need to, you could honestly do some. When you're first putting these in the ground, you could get a little bit of transplant shock. That doesn't hurt anything. Just make sure you follow the directions. That helps the roots set. I did have some guys. Which ones were it? My peaches. Yeah, I got a little upset. So I gave them a transplant shock, and they're actually bounced back with new growth. But so that stuff does work early on. But here, you know, later on, been in the ground for a while, we're using citrus fertilizers. I would say until about the end of November 30th. That's for zone 10A specifically. After that, I would leave it alone as far as fertilizer and wait until spring, because you're in your cooler months. These plants are just kind of dormant per se. Dormant's not really the word, but they're just kind of hanging out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not spring. So don't be fertilizing and pushing power into them in the wintertime. It doesn't make any sense for citrus, especially. And tangerines and lemons, who aren't even native in Florida. So we haven't done a whole lot of pruning yet. I'm not going to prune this guy at all until probably the middle of next year. It's got plenty of airflow. When you prune, you want to get any inward. I don't have any inward branching on this at all, so that's great. Oh, I see some new. That's fantastic. But you want to prune when it gets thick and dense in the center. I'm not having an issue on this loquat, so that's good. I will say, if you do have this in a container, when I mentioned the seasons, don't be afraid to move it around. It's not a bad thing. They can handle a bit of shade, but too much and they'll stretch for light. So again, with that pot, make sure it is a big pot, like 20 gallons or more. I'm talking big pot. And use a chunky mix that drains fast. They do love their drainage. Full sun, 8 hours a day, I would say, like I mentioned before, at least. They love sun. This is loquats we're talking about, guys. It's an orchard plant. They love sun. They love Florida. If you're not in Florida, let me know where you're from. It's very cool. When this one here gets taller, I'm going to start to shape it up nicely. They're almost a set and forget kind of plant. They really, I mean, honestly, I love orchards in general. Everything with orchards. They almost take care of themselves most of the year. They don't require a whole lot of maintenance. And I'm speaking very open and vague there, and I might get some disagreements there. But orchards compared to, I would say, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, maybe your beans. Our beans took off, but orchards and things that go inside of an orchard, like loquats, various cherries, peaches, lemons, papaya we have over here coming in. I got some cuttings from the front. This stuff is pretty, it likes to be like, give me my space, you know what I mean? So we haven't had a whole big pest problem at all, personally, with the loquat. I will say other things in my orchard, I have had to hit with some neem oil. I have had hit with fungus issues, copper fungicide. I use, things like Captain Jack's. There's no sponsorship here. I like to stick to the natural stuff that you can literally just wash off on your fruit the day of, and it's just fine. Neem oil is great though to keep the bugs away. It's cheap. I haven't ran into any aphids, but again, if you do, that is a common loquat issue. Neem oil. The only thing you might run into here in Florida is leaf burn if the sun hits newly planted trees too hard. So you might, a little yellowing if your soil is missing iron or magnesium. So a sprinkle of Epsom salt's an easy fix, or liquid kelp can fix that super fast. So here it is, and after 5 months in the ground, this loquat has proven itself strong, healthy, and ready to keep growing. It's really honestly one of the easiest plants I've honestly gotten into the ground here on the farm. And I can't wait for it to start blooming next year. Loquats are so delicious. I remember growing up with loquats with one of my friends, and we used to climb the tree. I mean, they get big, like that big. Maybe not that quite big, but you know what I mean? Like they get big. We used to climb them as a kid. It'd be like a little clubhouse. But, you know, pick the loquats and eat them out of the trees. But anyway, if you're thinking about adding one to your yard or homestead, go for it. They're beautiful. They feed you, and they fit perfectly into a backyard or front yard, in our case, to keep them away from the goats. Food forest. If this video has helped you in any way, and if you have any questions, if there's something I didn't address with this fairly set and forget kind of plant, not completely set and forget, go ahead and tap that like button. Mention something, ask me the questions in the comment, guys. I cover everything. I will get your answers. If there's something I did not cover, let me know. You can comment. I reply to everything. So we're all, you know, I think this stuff is a community effort, especially the way things are right now. It's pretty crazy out there. There's, you know, so let's help each other out. You know, what do you do differently? What has helped you? So thanks for watching DiamondTrail Ranch. We post videos weekly. Remember, good soil makes everything grow better.